Hello, Leo. Great to see you. Please come in, make yourself comfortable. Oh, I've got some sad news. I was driving. I've just returned home after seeing a lady at a hospice who was dying. Her family asked me to come in and provide some comfort to her just prior to her crossing over into the next stage of her journey. And of course, well, the sad thing is I won't get to see her now physically because unfortunately she has passed through to the next stage, which we wish her all the best to see what comes. Look, I'm going to use a deck. Oh, by the way, did I mention that my 2020 yearly reading is available? Forgive me if I told you before, but if you search Nigel Leo 2020, that will take you to your yearly reading. I'm going to use a deck by a lady in San Francisco called Eden Gallanter, and she calls the deck the Cheminée deck. Now, I have a very, very good response to this deck, and I've had excellent results with it. So I'm going to use it for you now. And the imagery is probably something that you're not familiar with, but I've got to tell you that but it works. Well, that's all I can say, that it works. Certainly it works for me, and so I'm very excited to be able to be doing this reading for you now. So let's get things underway, shall we? What have we got? Let's take something from in here. There is what? I'm just drawn to take that, whatever it is. The Three of Swords. The Priestess, Major Arcana number 2. So we shall see what's in store for you anyway, because you deserve the best. So let's give you the best. There is the Six of Discs. Well, it's pretty hard to get any better than that, and that's sitting right in the middle of your spread. Clearly this has come out, whatever it happens to be. And that's the Five of Staves, as Eden Gallanter calls it in her deck. The Cheminée deck, Eden Gallanter in San Francisco. So if you're interested in looking to acquire this deck yourself, I'm sure that she would help you out. Gee, I should be on commission, shouldn't I? I'm happy to support artists wherever I can, because they often toil for little reward but provide such joy to us all. What was that, incidentally? The Two of Staves has come down at last. Why don't you, as is usual, come and sit down next to me so that together we can look at the imagery on these cards while I provide the reading for you. Okay, now let's see what we have going on here. I'm going to... Oh, what is this that we are coming to here? The first card. Now, it obviously has something to say to you because it's come out in this first position. The Lady of Sorrow, Saturn in the second decanate of Libra. You know, that 3rd to the 12th of October. Look, Saturn is exalted in Libra, in ordinary astrology, and so we might expect to have really good things with this card. But this 3, which is here numerologically for me, in a mystical sense, is also governed by the planet of Saturn, and so we have a double dose of Saturn here. And Saturn is about limits, it's about restriction, time, form, and formality. And the suit of swords being in the suit of the mind and the product of the suits of wands and cups of fire and water can be particularly unstable at times. And I think this is one of those times where that instability is coming to the forth. The suit of swords can be especially difficult, I think. Look, here are the things that I'm feeling that you may well be thinking: grief, heartbreak, emotional pain of some description, some mental anguish, a fear of troubles which may be coming ahead. And it is as if you are suspended. Look at the figure of this woman. I look at her and, well, she's sort of floating above these 3 swords, isn't she, above this motley city below her, as if she's waiting for something to impale her, as if she's fearful of something impaling her. Well, I think that Saturn is applying its hard lessons on Libra's desire for relationships, and sorrow is a natural event that most people have to go through at some point. Libra is also associated with adjustment or justice, and so there is a sort of a karmic element which is associated with this card for me. There's a great degree of karma. It's something I think that you've had to work through, or it's something which you need to come to the conclusion is probably for your best. I'm thinking here, for example, that that you may well have sorrow over past hurts, losses or separation or words that have been said to you. These things, of course, are in the past, and if you can imagine yourself as a ship and you drop the anchor, well, then the ship doesn't move forward. But when you raise that anchor, when you give away those thoughts from the past, thoughts of melancholy or fears or unhappiness, fear of abandonment, then I think that things are going to move forward for you. I think that the thoughts of sorrow that you have could reflect past patterns that you can probably recognize. It indicates, I think, that you haven't released patterns or events from the past that are currently producing within you, not all the time, but at some stage during this month, a feeling of sorrow. And that is something which, look, I'm going to be frank, I never like to lecture people, but particularly things to do with the past. The past is a graveyard and it has nothing more to offer you. Do you know, sometimes you just have to believe in yourself. There's a good chance that all you've ever been told or made to feel in your life so far is that you can't do anything or can't do a particular thing. That every time you even dared to dream that your life could be better, you were shot down or laughed at, made to feel small, made to feel useless, made to feel like an idiot for even thinking you could be more. All of us, just as we thought something was in reach, have had a massive shadow of doubt thrown upon us. And normally by somebody that is close to us. And what does it do? It hurts. And you've then thought of the pain. You've then linked the pain to those thoughts of what you want to get what you want. And your brain starts to work against you having it. Your brain starts to say, when I want to go and do these things, I'm linking pain, and so I'm going to make sure that everything happens to make sure that this doesn't occur. And so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But you would need to understand that there is nothing you cannot be, there is nothing you cannot do, there is nothing you cannot have. You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. For who could reject such wondrous magnificence? But you do not know who you are, and you think you are a great deal less. You are your own rule maker, and you are the only one who can assess how you are doing. And I think this card has come up to say this specifically to you. Now, let's see what else there is going through. Now, there might well be some work to be done, but let's have a look at this card here, this Two of Wands, because I think in your mind... Here, now, before, we saw how we had this lady who was sitting above the swords, suspended. Here is another woman, suspended, if you like, but suspended in the same way that a dancer is suspended, in the same way that the dancer craves to be continually held in air. Or a sportsman may want to say, I want to remain in the air long enough, propelling forward in order to get into the end zone, score the touchdown. These two wands coming up, or staves as the artist calls it, have a definite phallic symbol to me and represent the masculine principle, and here is a feminine principle and a principle of balance. What's this thing? This looks like a a mark over her heart which says that she's really acting here from intuition and what she knows. And I think it's related to this card here, of course, as are all of these, it seems, today. And I'll say this about the Two of Staves, that this woman here is Mars in Aries, in the first decan of Aries, the 21st to the 30th of March. And she is the Lady of Dominion. I think that what we have here is a situation where you are no longer satisfied with your lot, and you will be focusing on your intent, and that will be about dominating a situation. It could also be about dominating a person. It's as if what's happened is that there was in the Ace the inspiration of what you wanted, and now we have here in this Two the development of the idea, the development of what it is that you want, what it is that you are going to make happen. And the next stage is to then, in a way, to insert the phallus into the receptive female and to seed the womb of that female to produce the life that the female then gestates and turns into reality. That's the thing that's coming through here for you. It's a tremendously good card. I think that you will be coming overcome with courage at this point in time. You'll be overcome with courage, with boldness, fierceness even, and I might say even something of a degree of shamelessness. You'll be generous and proud, but I have to say there'll be a certain amount of revenge and resolution associated with your actions. I think what this card is saying is that your will is beginning to rebel against its predisposed boundaries come hell or high water. You will be using your willpower to break through stagnant situations and remove, I think, what are some long-standing blocks. This is a time to act. And act on instinct. That's what I'm getting from this thing here. Don't over-intellectualize it. You know, your heart will always tell you what is right. Your heart will never let you down. The heart is able to understand, appreciate, and make use of knowledge that the mind is sometimes even unable to even see, let alone to make any use of. And I think that what's going to happen here is that this is a time where there will be some dynamic leadership ability and energy building up for you. Tremendously good card. Now what we also then have following on here is this Five of Cups. Now the fives have to do with, numerologically for me, well, they can have things to do with instability, chaos, exaggeration. This Five of Wands, some degree of exaggeration, but it can also relate to offers or proposals that are being put to you. Now, this figure here seems to be, he's in good shape, but within this tree, it's as if he's fighting the branches of this tree, but he's certainly not being overcome. In fact, he's giving as good as he gets. This man is, for me, representative of Saturn in the first decan of Leo, 23rd of July to the 2nd of August. I call him the Lord of Strife. Now, the planet Saturn and the constellation Leo don't really sit well with one another, because Leo wants to be creative and express itself, while Saturn is cold and dense and wants to put a fence around things and set limits. Now Leo here is a fire sign, Leo, and in a fire suit, being staves, and added to by this energy here of the number 5, which I have associated mystically the planet of Mars, the fiery planet of Mars. So we have fire in Mars, fire in the suit, and fire in the horoscope sign of Leo. So a lot of fire energy here. I think what we can therefore say is that we shall see that there is, well, a lot of striving on your behalf. Now, I don't feel, sometimes this card can have a negative connotation associated with it, but Of course, I read the cards as they all relate to one another. And this is a card which is coming through, and it's coming through. Here's this thought that you have. You're now starting to overcome it. You're now wrestling, I think, with yourself or others, and you'll see what the result is going to be in just a moment. But you might be in the middle of a conflict, a tension, or some competition, and this might even also be with yourself. It might be a tension about getting rid of those old ideas that you had that brought about the sorrow that was reflected in this card. Letting the past go. Reprogramming your mind to say, I associate pleasure with what it is that I want. Because conflict can be positive, such as that situation that I've just described there, and this card is talking about it. Now, I might also say that this can also point to competition with people who have the same or similar qualities and experience as you do, so it may be the case that you haven't had to face the fire of competition before, but now you will, and you will know what competition is, and more importantly, you will come to understand what competition requires, and it is competition for you where you will prevail. Now, this can also talk about understanding differences of people's cultures. But the outcome of this competition, this way these cards are reading, is I'm not at all surprised to see this card here, the Six of Discs. Now, here we have a figure sitting atop a tree. Well, there's nothing particularly remarkable, I don't think, from an esoteric point of view in what they have to say, but I will say that this card is, as I understand it, I flicked through the deck, and this is reminiscent of the Fool card, which is the traveller through the Tarot. And here we have this person who is, for me, representing the Lord of material success. This is the moon ruling the second decan of Taurus, that first 10 days of May. Now, in ordinary astrology, the moon is exalted in Taurus, which is a good sign. But the moon's transient nature means that success may be short-lived. But success it is, and in fact, success is not a continuum. You have a success. You have another success. You have another success. The point is this, is that you will be having success. And you will be having success over these thoughts of sorrow that came through here, and I'll be putting those things behind you, because this is very, very clearly the message of the divinity which is coming through for you. Now, it is, as I say, the moon in Taurus, and the moon likes nurturing and comfort, and Taurus really likes the material things in life, so they're really well suited to bringing about material success. That is, successes in your standard of living, which includes not just money, but includes things like relationships and how you feel about your life. I see material success and the seeds of financial prosperity here. Could well be the offer, and because I'm seeing this card here, this 5 can sometimes refer to offers, and I'm just seeing where it's placed. It could well be the offer to be involved in some sort of a profitable adventure. And it's a reminder for you to remember the success in your life and to build on these. Certainly there's going to be a desire for success with you. And of course, you need to be committed. You need to trust your intuition. Have this thought in mind, and it is, my self-acceptance and self-confidence are the keys to real success. Program your mind. Be open to your success. Real success only comes once you have learned to trust yourself and to serve others. And success under these conditions enriches all your levels of being. Now let's have a look to see what this has to say here. It is the High Priestess. Hello, Priestess. Well, here she is. She is asleep within herself, I think. She's sleeping there, but she has imprinted upon her what look like spiral galaxies, don't they? We ourselves are in a spiral galaxy, the Milky Way. So the astronomers tell us. We can't see it, of course, because we're stuck in it and we only see it from a side-on view. We have here again, now we had, incidentally, I'm also looking at here, her throne is really quite icy. It has the flavor of the moon to it, the color of the moon. This looks like a set of rib cages, and this area in here may well be her heart. I'm getting that moon feeling again, and we saw this thing about the moon in here, which is about nurturing. It's about making you feel better about these things here, because you're now taking control of your life. You're going to be the master of your destiny and the captain of your own ship. And you'll never take on the thoughts of other people and accept them as being your own thoughts. Ever. Don't ever do that. People can imprison your body, but they can't imprison your mind. They can chain your arms and legs, but they can never chain your heart or your thoughts. Now here we have the priestess of the silver star. The moon is what I get around her, represents cycles and going with the flow. I think what you need to do is to guard against information which is being withheld from you during this time. Guard against secrets which are being withheld. I think you may be using some, degree of spiritual gifts, I have to say. And guard against not trusting your intuition. This is very much about intuition, I think, for your card here, the energy that's coming through. And guard against being lied to. Look behind the words that people have to say to you during this period. Yet your skin is cool and pale in the moonlight. Not even night can cool the embrace of your arms around me, nor darken the glistening silver-white substance of our love. I close my eyes, and it shields them not. Rather, you grow brighter still. Your eyes lock on mine, unblinking and uneclipsed. O mother, O lover, O child. I think that this is really a period where you will be going through the discovery of your own truth. There is a great degree of emotional stability going to be held by you during this month. So I think that this energy that's coming through here is, these other cards are doing the work on this energy, though, because of course you may have felt downhearted or brokenhearted about something or disappointed by something. Nevertheless, the rest of the energy is one that's coming through providing spirituality. Now, I think that this can also, look, I would have this thought in mind. I deeply honor and value the human being that I am. I am intuitive and perceptive. I trust myself and honor my sense of integrity. This is about balance, intuition, insight, independence, self-knowledge, and unwilling to limit or restrict yourself. Now, you could be beginning quite a creative cycle here. I think you will be asserting some degree of independence. You'll be standing up for yourself and pushing back where people are seeking to impinge upon your space or to impinge upon your values and what you believe is right. You'll have increasing levels of self-esteem, okay? And this is sometimes the case with these things. A lot of these sorrows can come with self-esteem. Our self-esteem gets hammered by what people in the past have done or said. Again, very often, sadly, people that are close to us, parents, teachers, spouses, partners, the enemy within, if you like. I think that this is a time for you to discover the oasis that you are in. It may represent also the beginning of something of a platonic friendship with somebody, so quite a deep friendship, but nothing which is involving romance. Maybe a period of alone time can also be sought, and it just doesn't have to mean you need to go away on a pilgrimage or go away on a retreat or anything, but just take time away by yourself to work out what you really want and to let your mind process things. And remember that changes on the inside are necessary to make changes on the outside. I do think you need to connect and be more confident with your intuitive and feminine side. Now, for the men listening to this, don't be frightened when I say that. You realize, of course, that both of the genders are a mixture of both. That is, that men have a feminine side to them. It's just that the masculine predominates. And conversely, females have a masculine side to them. It's just that the feminine predominates. I think this is also about going with the flow of life and keeping things in balance. Well, what a fascinating month for you, and that is the way it is for you this month. There we go. December. Your December reading. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. Now, don't forget, make sure you check out your 2020 yearly reading. Just search for me, Nigel 2020, in your sign, and you'll get it. I thought you were fantastic during that reading. You were outstanding, and you played your part to perfection. And really, all that remains for me to say is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Until then, bye for now.